morning, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and this is Stitched Up, so I hope you're all well. Hope you've all had a really good week. You will probably notice that I look a little bit different in that I've had my hair done. So I didn't actually like how I'd had it done last time. I loved it initially, but as the weeks wore on, I grew to absolutely loathe my hair because I just thought it looked really unnatural, and I love my hair a little bit darker. It's naturally very fair anyway, but I do like it a little bit darker, and so I have gone a little bit darker and I've had like an ombre effect and I'm really loving it. So I did want it a little bit richer, but what she said to me is she knows how fickle I am, in that I go darker and then I go lighter and then I go darker and then I go lighter, because I'm always wanting a change. So what she said to me was, if I do go sort of a really rich, warm, brown, honey, golden sort of colour, that getting it light again will be really difficult and probably do a lot of damage to my hair. So we've done a bit of a halfway house in that she's put like a translucent colour on it, so that if I decide I don't get on with it and I want to go lighter again, then I can do, and it won't cause too much damage to my hair. But I'm really loving it. I just love this colour. I think it looks really nice, and yeah, hope you like it too. So that's my news for the week, but this week's vlog is something quite special. Now, I am shock horror wearing a ready-to-wear dress at the minute. Now, this is a dress, and I'll show you in a bit more detail in a second. This is a dress that I bought in the Next sale probably about 2 years ago, I think, and I love it in summer. It's coming up very red on screen, but it's actually more like a brick red linen, and it's lovely. It's lovely for this time of year. I love wearing it, and I have been thinking for a while that I would love to recreate this dress. And I think we all have that, don't we, where, you know, there's not many of us, I don't think, that don't buy anything ready to wear anymore and have a completely me-made wardrobe. I think I'm getting there, and I don't buy a lot of ready to wear clothes, but I do get my inspiration from ready to wear clothes. And this was something, as I say, that I got in the sale, and I love it so much that I thought it would be a good opportunity to have a go at recreating it myself. So that's what this vlog is. It's about my journey on creating a pattern from this dress and making a copy of it, really. So let me show you the ready-to-wear version in a little bit more detail. So it's not, I mean, I would say it's not a basic dress, but it's, when I looked at the construction of this dress, it's fairly straightforward, and I did think that I would have the skills to sort of recreate it. So essentially it's a grown on sleeve. There is no yoke details, there's no gathering on the shoulder or anything. Obviously a V-neck. Now if I just undo the belt, it's just a self-tie belt with belt loops at the side, and it has the bodice is a separate bodice, but there are no shaping details in the front part, the front bodice piece. If you look closely, it literally is just a V with a grown on sleeve. And the finishing on the neckline is, I believe, bias binding, if we look closely there. And then the button band is a fold over button band, so it's not a separate button band. As you can see, it's just stitched down the front, and if I just show you underneath, it's literally just folded over and stitched, and I would imagine there is probably interfacing in there just to stiffen it a little bit for the buttons and button band. Now moving to the back is all one piece cut on the fold, and you might just be able to see there's some pleats just in the centre back here, which obviously gives you a little bit of extra width in the back pattern piece. And then skirt wise, if I stand up, oh, so the skirt is basically an A-line very much, and the buttons go, obviously it's got another folded over button band on the skirt pieces. The front skirt is in 2 pieces, obviously, and the buttons only go so far, and then you're flashing a little bit of thigh. And then the back skirt pieces are in 2 pieces as well. So there is a centre back seam in the back skirt pieces. And then it comes down to just above my ankles, because the good thing about Next is that they do a tall range. So this is actually the tall version, which means that it is maxi length on me, which fits me great. So the sleeves are literally just turned over and stitched. That's how the sleeve hems are done. And the key thing that I needed to look at is, if I can show you carefully, is the grain line of the fabric on the pattern pieces. So obviously the grain line needs to be parallel to the centre front and the centre back seam, so I needed to make sure of that. And then the belt is just a simple, you know, a simple tie belt that is, you know, 2 pieces stitched together, and then I just tie it like that. So it's a fairly simple, straightforward dress, and because of the loose fit of it, I think that's why you can get away with no shaping in the front bodice piece. And yeah, it's lovely. I really love this dress. What can I say? So I thought it would be nice to have a look at how I put this together. So I've put some film together of me taking the, well, when I say taking this apart, I mean breaking it down. I didn't actually undo all this dress because, you know, it's not at the end of its life and I still want to wear it. So I've never done this before. I've never tried to make a pattern from a dress that I already own before, or any other item of clothing that I already own. So I thought it would be interesting for you to see how I've done it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut to the footage of showing you how I made a pattern for this dress and created a dress myself, and then we'll come back at the end and I will show you the finished dress. Right, so this is the dress that I'm going to be working on and going to try and attempt to draft my own pattern from. This is a ready-to-wear dress that I bought from Next in the sale a couple of years ago, and essentially all it is a very, very small grown-on sleeve. It's just a little bit drop shoulder. V-neck, as you can see, which is all bound with bias binding. It comes down into a simple button front, and if I just undo a couple of the buttons like so, you can see that it is simply folded back. There's no separate button band, it's just folded back to create a button hole band, and the button band is exactly the same on the other side. So it comes down into basically a 4-panel skirt, 2 back pieces and 2 front pieces, and the buttons end quite a way up the leg, just above the knee. There are no darts at all in the front bodice, so it's just a flat front bodice piece, and there are no darts in the front skirt as well. And if you look at the grain line, I don't know if you can see the grain line on the linen that this dress is made out of, but obviously the grain line just runs parallel to the centre front. The bottom of the skirt just curves round, so your skirt piece is essentially shaped like that. So if we turn it over, back bodice piece is cut on the fold, and the only shaping that you've got is a few pleats in the back bodice piece from the centre front. There are in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pleats, just to create a little bit of room in the back. And again, the back skirt pieces have no darts in whatsoever. The back skirt pieces are cut on the fold, and there are a couple of belt loops at either side to carry the belt. So yeah, the back skirt is in 2 pieces, just with a centre back seam, and yeah, again, they are shaped like so. So what I am going to attempt to do, I don't want to take this dress apart to create pattern from it. I'm going to attempt to essentially draw around it, because I think it'll probably work. It is a fairly loose fitting dress, and I love the length of this. I love this dress totally. It looks really nice. I always get lots of compliments when I wear it, but it is actually very simple. So I'm going to try and, just with some clever folding, try and create some pattern pieces from these. Not forgetting that I need to add in a seam allowance, and we'll see how we get on with that.
Don't need someone to save me, no, and don't come running to blame me. From miles away I can tell that something's off. The way you look and how you pause when you talk, I think I said enough. You said your love for me something brand new. You said this is something you would never do. Here we are in your car, let me see who you are, who you really are, yeah. Don't need you here to say you're sorry, 'cause if you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Don't take it slow, don't be gentle, no, I just gotta know. If you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Ooh. Let's be honest for a second, yeah. You're being over your head, babe, 'cause there is no one other than me that can make you feel the way you feel when I hold you. I think I said enough. You said your love for me something brand new. You said this is something you would never do. Here we are in your car, let me see who you are, who you really are, yeah. Don't need you here to say you're sorry, 'cause if you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Don't take it slow, don't be gentle, no, I just gotta know. If you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Ooh. Just do it. Don't need you here to say you're sorry, 'cause if you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Don't take it slow, don't be gentle, no, I just gotta know. If you're gonna leave me, then just do it.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow, and the old ways get washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day, and it will set you free. There's a it is waiting for us. There's a new day waiting round the bend. There's a new day, and it will restore us. There'll be new ways. This is not the end.
Okay, so pattern is drafted. What I've got here is the, oh, if I just pan out a little bit. So I've got the back bodice here, which obviously is cut on the fold, and I've added in a 5/8 of an inch or 1.5 centimetre seam allowance all the way around. I have added in the pleats here. There were 6 pleats altogether, so obviously this is cut on the fold, so there'll be 3 on each side. And then I have added some notches, and this little line here indicates where I stop stitching, and then we'll need to cut into the seam allowance to be able to fold over the armhole and do bias binding. So that's the back bodice, and then we've got the front bodice here, which again I have done a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around. Obviously there's no darts or anything in the front bodice, as I mentioned earlier. Added notches again, and I have made sure that those notches line up and where I stop stitching lines up with the armhole of the back bodice. And I have given myself an inch of where the buttonhole band is going to be. So this bit is going to be the fold line, and then it's going to be interfaced and will fold under like that, and then I've marked on where the buttonholes will be. I've also put in the grain line for the front bodice, which will obviously be parallel to the centre front. So that's the front and back bodice pieces. And then I have drafted, the big pieces here, but this is the skirt front. Again, I have marked on where all the buttonholes are, and I've also been careful to make sure that this diameter here, which is obviously the stitching line, matches the stitching line of the front bodice, so that will stitch in and meet the waistline of the front bodice piece. And I again have made sure there is an inch on the front band, so that can be folded over and interfaced for the buttons and buttonholes. And I've given myself at the bottom a 2-inch seam allowance for the hem. And then the back skirt is again these 2 notches here donate the centre back. In fact, I am just going to write centre back here so I know, to remind myself. And then I've put a notch on the side seam, which matches up with a notch on the side seam of the front skirt, which is just there and there. They will match up nicely. And the grain line for the back skirt is along the centre back. So, and again, I've got a 2-inch seam allowance for the hem at the bottom. And finally, I have drafted a belt. So this will be cut on the fold. I measured the other belt, as you've just probably seen, and I've angled it. And I have given myself 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around, apart from obviously where it's cut on the fold, so that it makes the belt 1.5 inches wide when sewn. And then the last little piece that I've drafted is a belt carrier piece, which again, I've got 5/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around, but I think what we'll do with this one is we'll just create essentially a little belt carrier like that, like you do with most belt carriers. So it's more like bias binding, isn't it? That kind of thing. So that's going to be my belt carrier piece. So yeah, I now have a pattern for my ready to wear dress. and I don't know how well this is going to go. I'm going to choose some fabric. I need something like, try it in viscose, but I think I'm probably better off, yeah, it needs to be something quite drapey, but I'm going to go raid my stash because I need to figure out now how much fabric I need to make this dress. So I'm going to have a look at my stash and obviously going to choose something that's not too precious. So if it all goes horribly wrong, it will at least, you know, it will, you know, at least I won't have wasted lots of nice fabric. So wish me luck. Okay, so I'm using this fabric, which is a beautiful viscose that I got from Walton's last year. I think it was £4 a metre. I know Lamazi have this at the minute, but it's not as inexpensive as this was. So I bought 4 meters of this, and I have managed to get, I've just pinned everything out to see what it looks like, but I've managed to get the skirt pieces sort of facing each other like that and made sure the grain lines are right. And then I've got the back bodice piece there on the fold. The front bodice piece just squeezes in there. I've also got the little belt carriers right up the top somewhere, and then I've just got the belt piece here. Now, when I made this, I said it needed to be on the fold. Ideally, I would prefer it perpendicular to the grain line, but as you can see, the pattern piece is too long, so I'm going to have to probably cut this in 4 pieces and stick it parallel to the grain line that way. So I'm probably going to have to do 2 of those to get that out of what's left just there. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this cut out and then we'll see how we get on. I might have to, I'm not sure if I've got enough there to cut that out of what's there, so I may have to move this piece across to there, which will then give me enough room, so we'll see. But I envisage this, for me, I mean, this dress was from Next and it's in their tall range, so it does come very long on me. And so I envisage, yeah, I mean, this is not a directional print, although it looks like it might be, but it's not. You would have to, yeah, I mean, I've needed 4 meters of this and I don't think I could get this out of a smaller amount of fabric. So anyway, I think I'm going to have to move that piece there, get the belt pinned on, and then get this cut out. Right, so it's all cut out. What I am going to do first is I am just going to interface the front button band on the front bodice pieces and the front skirt pieces, and I'm also going to apply some seam tape just to these bias cut edges of the front bodice, because otherwise they will probably stretch out as I handle this fabric, because it is, you know, it's a nice lightweight viscose, but it has a tendency to stretch out and I don't want that front neckline to stretch out, so I'm going to do that first.
Thought I was losing who I call myself today in this world of illusions. Didn't dare to sing my name. That was when you came along, and I don't know where I would be or where I'll go if you weren't standing next to me. Your arms have carried me for miles. Here's where I belong. Life can be unfair. I just couldn't handle it. Still smell the bitter taste of misery and unfaith. I just need to love you like I do, 'cause I don't know where I would be or where Your arms have carried me for miles. Here's where I belong. I've been running away from now and everything. Everything I've seen, recalling the things I won't remembering. Remembering a feel, I can't deny it. Just wanna hide it and let it go away. But you have shown me that I can be free and face the world again. And I don't know where I would be or where I'll go if you weren't standing next to me. Your love will carry me for life, and I don't know where I would be or where I'll go if you weren't standing next to me. Your arms have carried me for miles. Here's where I belong. Here's where I belong. Here's where I belong.
You look at me like I'm crazy when I shut my feelings out. You look at me like I'm different, still you stay cause you feel something real. Get so lost in my moments, doesn't mean I don't need you. I fell in love with your colors, they kinda tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes, they never know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us. There's something different about us. We're pouring cup after cup after cup. Yeah, it's just the way we do it. Anything just to block out the rain.
So here is my version of this dress, and I am super happy with it. Buttons wise, if I just bring you a little bit closer, you might be able to see these buttons here are absolutely beautiful, and I think they match really well. These are actually from Pigeon Wishes, which I got them off Etsy, and I think they go really well. But essentially all I have done is, obviously I've put a bias binding from the self fabric around the neckline. So it's got the little grown on sleeves. Yeah, if I just turn it round, I can show you the back. I've got the little pleating detail in the back there. What I found when I made this version, because obviously this is made from viscose, whereas the one that I'm wearing, the ready to wear version, is linen. I found that over the bust, because there's no shaping in the front body piece at all, that I found that there was like a couple of drag lines just over the bust in this particular version. So what I decided to do after making this version is I thought I would have a look at adding in some gathering across the shoulder, because I thought that might be a nice feature, and also it would just add in a little bit of extra room to contain the bust, shall we say. So what I did for my next adaptation of this pattern is I used the Sew Over It Eve dress bodice pattern pieces, but you could use any pattern piece that has gathering at the shoulders. You know, there's loads of patterns out there, isn't there, that have gathering at the shoulders. And all I did was I measured the difference between the front bodice piece with the gathering allowance in and how it fitted to the back bodice piece, and I measured the difference between that, and then I added it on to the front pattern piece for this, and then I created another dress. So let me get that one and I will show you how that one looks too. So this is the second version that I made with the extra little bit of gathering just at the shoulders. Now I think it's worked quite well, to be honest, and I do like the feature of it. I do think that I probably just need a little bit more, so I think I'm just going to adapt the pattern a little bit more. But I think that this is the beauty of doing something like this, that you can just play around. Once you've got that basic pattern that you know works, you can then play around with little features and hacking and just trying little different things with it, just to create your own, absolutely your own bespoke dress, really. So I'm really pleased with how the little gathering looks at the shoulder. I think that really suits the dress. And what I did with this version was I just used some satin bias binding to bind around the neckline this time. And these buttons are just some shell buttons that I bought from eBay. This fabric again is a viscose, and this is a border print viscose that I actually bought from Colville Fabrics last year. It was really inexpensive, but it's absolutely stunning. So I don't know if I can show you the bottom there, but it's got like, it goes down to sort of leaf, a lot more sort of foliage at the bottom. And I haven't actually hemmed this yet because I've wanted to leave it to hang for a few days, just because the side seam edges of the skirt pieces of this dress are actually cut on the bias, and in a viscose it is going to you know, stretch out a little bit. So I wanted to leave this, and I've left this for a good few days now just to relax, so that I can now straighten that off and hem it. But I am going to put this on as well and show you how it looks. Again, I made the self-tie belt, but I do have some spare fabric of this, and I think that I might actually send that off to Harlequin and get them to make me a belt to wear with this, because I think that would be quite nice rather than a self-tie belt. I was a little bit worried that this fabric is a little bit see-through. I mean, it does when you, obviously when it's up against the light coming through the doors at the back, you can see that it's quite see-through. So initially my first thoughts were, did I need to line this? And I was trying to figure out how I would line it with it being a front fastening. But then I think because of the print, it's actually fine. And, you know, as long as I don't wear dark underwear with it, then it will be fine. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed my little journey of, you know, making my own version of a ready-to-wear dress, and let me know if you've done anything similar below. It's making me start to think a little bit more about some of the older ready-to-wear things that I have in my wardrobe, and maybe having a go at something else, to be honest. It's been really good fun to do it, and it's actually been a lot easier than I thought. So if you do have any questions, if anything's not been explained very well, or you just want to ask me any questions about the process, then please feel free to ask me those questions in the description box down below, and I will look forward to being back with you really soon. Take care. Bye.
We fly around like paper planes, they never know where we will fall. Nobody can see it, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about the way we are.